It's time for the UMFL Live. Are you ready for some football? Welcome, UMFL fans and players and all that good stuff. This is episode 1 of the UMFL Live Podcast. I am the host, Maniac, and we are so awesomely thankful for each and every one of you in the UMFL, Ducks, Vandy, Junior, and myself. We want to welcome you again fully to the UMFL, and if you have anybody, a friend, that you think would be a perfect fit for the league, be sure to go ahead and give them a point in our direction, and we'll be glad to give them a try in the league. Right now we're at like 20-something owners. It's not bad, not great, but not bad for us starting out, and we're looking forward to bigger and better things as we move towards Madden NFL 18, which will be here before we know it. The show, hopefully in the future we can get stuff situated where we can have actual live guests on the show. I don't have all the equipment that you need for that stuff at the moment, but that's something I can build towards in the future. Excuse me. The first episode here, we're gonna basically do an outline for each show, and each show will be probably pretty similar. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the league stats and different things like that, and go over basically like a weekly overview. I want to do this weekly. I can't promise anything. It probably more than likely will turn into a bi-weekly thing. But I want to do it. I love doing stuff like this. It's immersive. It gets you involved, and I know it gets me involved because obviously I'm talking. But I don't know if you want to listen to me talk every single week. But that'll be something we work towards. Hopefully, again, like I said, to have a live guest on, even if we have to do a recording and add it to PlayStation Network party or something, do something like that. But anyway, we'll work on that and get things situated hopefully in the near future. Alright, let's get started in the UMFL. We are currently in week 5. We did a lot better getting our games in this past week. Vandy was pushing for that, and appreciate him stepping up and kind of taking that by the reins. Really, Ducks and Junior, Vandy, everyone has done a tremendous job. And you guys here that have joined the league and stuff, you guys have been gracious enough also to really start changing the way you play. I know the no switch thing and stuff is kind of difficult and stuff to get used to right at first, but I see a lot of improvement from guys that were from week 1 were struggling with that and stuff, and we're starting to see some really good solid games, user versus user. So let's keep improving. Everybody can improve. Everybody's human. Let's keep it civil in the chat. I know we've had some incidents in the past, but hey, that's under the bridge, and let's forget about it. Let's move forward. And let's get started with my outline of the show here for the UMFL Live. First off, we're going to look at standings. I don't have any visuals except for the actual UMFL Live placeholder there for the podcast, but maybe in the future we'll have some visuals and stuff as well. Maybe even have a live camera. All right, let's get started here looking at the division standings. I'm not going to go over any other stats or anything at this time. I recorded some earlier, and it just took way too long. Just getting through the standings was like 25 minutes, so I just erased it and started over. All right, we're looking at AFC East. The Buffalo Bills currently number 1 in the division there with a 4-1 record. New England Patriots in second place, 1-3. Followed by the computer-controlled teams there. AFC West, San Diego Chargers 2-2 with a 3-way tie here for first place. The Denver Broncos 2-2 and the Oakland Raiders in junior 2-2. The Pittsburgh Steelers and AFC North are 5-1, followed by Ducks and the Baltimore Ravens at 4-0. Kev and the Cincinnati Bengals are 2-2, and Coach Mo there at 2-2 with the Cleveland Browns. Tight division, but you got a couple guys there at the top kind of running away with it. But there's still time in the season, and these guys can still make a push. We could actually have 3 teams out of this division. Who knows? All right, moving on to the AFC South. The Houston Texans, coached by Coach Tavion from the UMFL League. Of course, you know we're from the UMFL League. Come on. Anyway, Coach Tavion has the Houston Texans at a 4-1 record and rolling. He did have a snag with a team that is from the NFC, and that team is coached by Vandy, and that was also the game of the week. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. The Jacksonville Jaguars are bringing up the 2-2 record into second place, followed by the Indianapolis Colts 2-2 and the Tennessee Titans 0-4. Mr. Meathead, you got to get this thing turned around. I know you've probably played some tight games. Obviously, it kind of looks like it from your points. 4 points allowed. You've probably been playing really close games, so you got to get that ship righted there, sir. All right, moving on to the NFC. We have the New York Football Giants 3-1, tied with the Dallas Cowboys 3-1, but he also holds the tiebreaker because he won the head-to-head division game in week 1. I'm probably going to cough, so please again forgive me. The Philadelphia Eagles are 2-1. They are a CPU team, but they did start out on fire. I don't know what is going on there, but they are on fire. The Washington Redskins 0-4. Each division in the NFC has an 0-4 last place team. A little strange, I find it. But anyway. Alright, moving on to the West. The Seattle Seahawks 3-1. With my good UT fan buddy there. He's got the Seahawks rolling. The Los Angeles Rams and Colin, they're 3-2. Followed by Ozone and the Arizona Cardinals, 2-2. He had a couple of sim losses. And that division is going to be a close race down the stretch, I promise you. The San Francisco Giants, 0-4. They were actually pretty easy, except for Carlos Hyde almost rushed like 200 yards on me. I had like a 94-yard run against my defense, which is just stupid, but let's not get into that because I'll get sidetracked, which I already am, and I don't want to take longer than it needs to be because you guys don't want to listen to me for 40 minutes just rattle. But the San Francisco 49ers are 0-4 in that division and bringing up the rear. The next one is the NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings in the Vandy wagon is at 4-1. The Detroit Lions are 2-2. The Green Bay Packers 1-2, and the Chicago Bears are 0-4. Vandy's got stuff rolling there in Minnesota, and he was also, again, like I said, part of the game of the week, and we'll discuss that here shortly. The NFC South. This division is going to be a hard-fought division. We got 2 top players, both in this division, both of the top 2 spots in the division. We have Cincy and the New Orleans Saints, and Big Hurt and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both have 4 wins. The Buccaneers have 1 loss. But this game is going to go, this division is going to go down to the wire, I promise you. Write it down. I promise you it's going to go down the wire to the head-to-head games versus these guys. All right, there you have it. That is the standings right now. Now let's go look at the player stat leaders. That's right. We're going to go look at the player stat leaders. All right, so far the UMFL stat leaders on offense. We'll do offense first, defense second. Passing yards, Teddy Bridgewater and the Minnesota Vikings. He's already approaching 2,000 yards passing. Vandy, what are you doing? I have never seen you this on fire passing. You must have got an e-book. No, I'm just playing. He's always been good, but he's got something cooking there in Minnesota with those Vikings. Jared Goff there with Colin there with the Rams, 1,460 yards passing. Andrew Luck, 1,441, which we had the user that got kicked in week 1, who threw the ball against the CPU and almost had 700 yards passing. So Luck's numbers are a little bit skewed. Cam Newton, number 4 with passing with 1,351. Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay there at Big Hurt with 1,288. Rushing yards, the rushing leader right now is Le'Veon Bell for Pittsburgh, and Coach J-Bone with 540. Lamar Miller in Houston, 469. Coach Tavion. Melvin Gordon was in San Diego but is now a Baltimore Raven. There with Ducks at 445. Ezekiel Elliott, number 4 with Dallas. My Dallas Cowboys at 433. And Carlos Hyde and the San Francisco 49ers, 5th with 396. And like I said, he nearly got 200 against me. So now let's look at your receiving leaders. We have Odell Beckham Jr. and the New York Giants. He has 660 yards receiving. Currently number 1. Corey Coleman in Cleveland with 580. Tavion Austin in LA with 449. Larry Fitzgerald and Ozone there in Arizona with 447. And Mike Evans and Big Hurt with 437 in Tampa Bay for 5th. All right, now let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. That's right. Defense wins championships. All right, your tackles leader so far through week 4. Some of these may also carry on to week 5. Trey Boston, the Carolina Panthers. Safety, number 1 with 31 tackles. New York Jets. Marcus Gilchrist with 27 tackles. Navarro Bowman, San Francisco with 26. DeQuil Jackson, Indy, 26. And Jimmy Ward, San Francisco cornerback with 24. Notice all those tackle leaders are all CPU-controlled players. So, All right, your sack leader so far in the UMFL, Von Miller with 9 sacks in Denver. That's also a computer-controlled team. But we have number 2, Chandler Jones with Arizona, which is controlled by Ozone, with 7 sacks. Daniel Hunter in Minnesota with 7. And Vandy. Ezekiel Ansah in Detroit with 5. And Robert Quinn in LA with Colin with 5. All right, your interception leaders. Sean Lee and Luke Kuechly are tied with 5. Jatavius Brown for the Buffalo with 4, number 3. Will Hill in Baltimore with 3. C.J. Mosley in New York with the Giants at 3 interceptions, currently number 5 in the league. All right, guys, that is the stat leaders for player stats so far in the league. Now let's look at the games of the week. All right, first off, we're going to go back and look at week 4's game of the week. And that was the Arizona Cardinals I'm having to click here, trying to figure out where I'm at. Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. You gotta click back here. That game ended out with a 28-10 win by the Cardinals over Arizona Cardinals, and Ozone over Colin and the Rams. Give you some stats from the game. Both guys played really good, it looks like, except for Goff had 3 interceptions and Carson Palmer threw 3 touchdowns. Turnovers do make a difference in this game. Turn the ball over, it's hard to win, and it's the same thing in real life. So, all right, rushing. Both guys had issues getting the ball going, especially Ozone. Johnson only had 44 yards rushing. Gurley had 73. Had a little bit better going than Ozone did there with the Cardinals. My voice keeps cutting in and out because of this issue I've got with my sinuses. But anyway, all right, receiving. Tavion Austin was the leading receiver. No, I'm sorry. Kenny Brent was the leading receiver with 5 receptions for 111 yards, and 29 was the long one. Didn't have any touchdown passes, though, and no touchdown catches. On the other side of the ball, Larry Fitzgerald dominated as well, along with Johnson out of the backfield. Larry Fitzgerald had 4 receptions for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 83 long for his longest play. That's pretty good for old man Fitzgerald. On the defensive side of the ball, we'll look at sacks and interceptions. Chandler Jones also had two sacks that game. And Bryant, Cooper, and Peterson, all 3 had an interception. Really the only thing notable for Colin on the Rams was that Quinn had got a sack. And that was about it. But the score was not that bad. Only an 18-point win. Considering the 3 turnovers, and so not a bad deal. Ozone is one of the top players. Colin is a very good player as well, but Ozone just proved to be the better match in this game. So now moving on to this week's game of the week. We will look at the Houston Texans versus the Minnesota Vikings. This was another hard-fought match, very kind of similar to the previous week with Ozone and Colin. This one was Tavion and the Texans and Vandy and the Vikings. That's weird. Tavion, Texans, Vandy, Vikings. Okay, you guys had that plan, didn't you? Anyway, I do see the resemblance in the game as very similar. in stats as well. The biggest thing here was turnovers. 5 turnovers by the Texans to only 2 turnovers by the Vikings. You turn the ball over, it makes it extremely hard to win a game, and that seems to be the case of what happened in this game. Yards allowed, 126 for the Vikings, 261 by the Texans. Rushing yards allowed, only 33 by the Vikings, 130 yards allowed rushing by the Texans. A big difference there. That was basically probably the difference in the game for controlling the clock. One was able to control the clock, the other one wasn't. Passing yards 126 for the Texans to 261 by the Vikings. So that's the big stats from that game. Again, the final was the Vikings 27, the Texans 10. We'll be looking forward to seeing what these guys have got later down the road. I know the Texans came into this game undefeated, leaving this game with their first defeat of the season here in the UMFL. And Vandy and the Vikings are now 4-1 atop of the NFC North. All right. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. Probably not, but excuse me. All right, moving on to Week 6. We're going to take a look at the opponents for Week 6, and then I'm going to give you the game of the week. All right, the San Francisco 49ers 0-4 will be traveling to Buffalo to face MLK and the Bills at 4-1. This should be a slaughter, but who knows? It's going to be a CPU unless we find an owner for the 49ers by then. I apologize. My voice feels like it's about to go. I start feeling the tickle sensation in my throat, and then I got a cough. But I push on for you guys. The Cincinnati Bengals and Coach Kev will be facing the Patriots and TXTC, whatever his name is. I don't know. 1-3. Bengals are 2-2. Should be a good matchup. The 2-2 CPU Broncos will face Watching You 2-2 Chargers. This will be a battle for first place in that division. Mo and the Browns travel to Meathead and the Titans. Titans still looking for their first win. Look for this game still to be a close match. The Kansas City Chiefs will be facing off versus the Oakland Raiders. The Chiefs and Outlaw will be facing Junior and those Raiders. CPU Colts will be facing the Tavion Texans. The 3-1 Maniac Cowboys will be facing the 1-2 CPU Packers. I don't trust the Packers. They are cheaters. The Philadelphia Eagles will be facing off against the Redskins, who are 0-4. I see the Eagles winning that, even though it is a CPU game. The 0-4 Falcons and Decode will be going to the 3-1 Seahawks and my UT friend there on the West Coast. Sorry to Code, but I think you're probably going to be 0-5 after this game. The CPU Jaguars travel to the Chicago Bears at 0-4. The New York Jets go to Ozone and the Cardinals. The Panthers travel to Cincy and the Saints. Colin and the Rams take on the CPU Lions. Ducks and the Ravens go to face the New York Giants. I just went blank on the owner's name. Anyway, they'll be facing off, and the 5-0 Steelers will be traveling to the 0-4 Dolphins CPU team. I will say that I think the Dolphins quarterback, though, Tannehill, is on fire. So that is a trap game for the Steelers. So keep your guard up, J-Bone and the Steelers versus that CPU. All right, and now to reveal the game of the week for you guys. If I had a drum roll, I'd do it. But this, the game of the week for Week 6 will be the Baltimore Ravens and the Ducks traveling to the New York Giants. 4-0 Ravens will be traveling to the 3-1 Giants. There'll be a big pivotal matchup there. Both teams are in the fight for first place. There can only be one winner unless they tie. Highly unlikely, but it's possible. Hey. But that will be for division rights also as well, because the loser loses ground in the division fight for their division. All right, game of the week, Baltimore Giants. Okay, we want to also discuss with you guys. I'm going to try to bring up a rule per podcast. This one is the 4th down rule on the gameplay rules. Those are very easy to access there on Discord. Just give the exclamation point and type in gameplay rules or rules. I can't even think of it once I'm saying it. There's roster rules and gameplay rules. Okay. But today we're going to focus on the 4th down rule. And let me pull it up. Alright, 4th down rules / hurry up rules. A, 4th down. You may go for it in these conditions: 4th and 2 unless in your opponent's territory. Any distance when losing by 20 points or plus. Losing in the 4th quarter or in overtime. In all other 4th down situations, you must either punt or kick a field goal. Any fake punt or field goal must fall within the acceptable go for it 4th down rules as stated above. Okay. Excuse me. So again, you may go for it in these conditions: 4th and 2 or less in your opponent's territory. That is from the 50 towards the end zone that you're trying to score in. And you can go any distance when losing by 20 points or more and losing in the 4th quarter or in overtime. So there you have it. That's the rule for the week. And now we're going to look at playoff picture. It's still a little early, but it's never early to talk about playoffs because really it's always on everybody's mind. They want to get to the playoffs. Right now, currently in the AFC, we have the Baltimore Ravens at 4-0. Showing at the top of the division. I don't know why there's a number 1 seed. That don't make sense. I would say that needs to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, since they're in the same division. Excuse me. 2nd seed is the Texans 4-1, Buffalo 4-1. 3rd seed, 2nd seed. Watching you with the 2-2 Chargers record. Then again, there's the Steelers at 5-0 with the 5th seed. I don't understand Madden's logic. And then the Denver Broncos CPU team is currently 6th seed. And currently on the bubble, we have a couple users that are on the bubble already the first of the season. But again, it's still early. You can turn it around. But this is just a case for a little bit more motivation. A little bit motivation. All right. Yeah, I know. Keep my day job. All right. Number 7 on the bubble. Kevin, the Bengals, 2-2. If they come out with a win tonight, that'll change their positioning and probably. I don't know. They're in the AFC North, and that one's already clogged at the top. So they may win tonight and not even move a spot. So, but they could move into 6th place though. And the other is Junior and the Oakland Raiders at 2-2. You guys, again, it's still early in the season, but you don't want to hang around to the last to make your move. You need to get it in gear. All right, first place and the first seed so far listed in the NFC is Cincy and those Saints at 4-0, followed by the New York Giants 3-1. I keep seeing the guy's name and I cannot for the life of me get it out, and I don't want to take time to look on my phone because then it takes time away from the podcast. Anyway, Colin and the Rams 3-2. The Emperor, that is it. The Emperor coaching the New York Giants. I'm sorry, my apologies. Colin and the Rams 3-2, the 3rd seed. Vandy and the Vikes 4-1, currently holding up the 4th. My Dallas Cowboys at 3-1, 5th spot there in the seeding, followed by Big Hurt 4-1 with the Bucks on the bubble. And I don't know why, but the UT, my friend from the UT, 3-1 the Seahawks. The Eagles are 2-1. And the Panthers 2-3, and Ozone and the last place with the 2-2 record, but again he had some sim losses. So, all right, this is how we're going to end the show. The first podcast of the UMFL. Thanks for if you stayed this long and listened to the whole thing. Kudos to you. I should give you a +1 rating on your player of your choice for listening this long, but I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to end it, though, with my predictions for the week 6. And then that's going to be it. We're going to cut it off. We're going to kill it. I probably should have done this when I was calling off the games. But week 6, 49ers, Bills. Bills win that easily. I'm going to call it 38-10. The Bengals, Patriots. I'm going to give the edge to the Patriots here. 24-21 over the Bengals. The Broncos versus the Chargers. Chargers win this one 24-23 over the Broncos. Mo and the Browns travel to Meathead and the Titans. Mo continues to roll with those Browns. The score is going to be 31-17. Chiefs and Outlaw versus Junior and the Raiders. Junior wins this one by a score 33-21. The Colts versus the Texans. Texans win this handily. Texans score 38 points. Colts 14. Dallas Cowboys versus the Packers. Cowboys win 21-17. Kind of hate predicting my own my own scores. I feel like I jinxed myself. But anyway, the Eagles versus the Redskins. Redskins get their first win of the season. That is if they haven't played already in week 5. But I'm going to call it here. The Redskins beat the Eagles at home 21-19. Falcons go 0-5 versus the Seahawks. Seahawks win this one 28, Falcons 10. Now Seahawks 28, Falcons 21. I just overruled myself. Jaguars versus the Bears. Bears stay winless. Jaguars get a win in Chicago. Score is going to be low scoring, 17-13 over the Bears. Ozone the Cardinals. They take on the Jets, and they beat the Jets here in this one. Ozone on those Cardinals 33, Jets 17. Saints versus the Panthers. Saints in a blowout. Saints 41, Panthers 21. Rams versus the Lions. Rams won this one easily. Rams 24, Lions 9. Ravens versus the Giants here, game of the week. I am going to say that this game is going to go down to the wire. But I have to give the edge to Ducks and the Ravens. And my prediction is the Ravens 34, Giants 31. It's going to be a barn burner. And the Steelers should walk away with this one easily, but I think it's going to be closer than I'm anticipating. But I'm going to say Steelers are going to win 30, Dolphins 17. All right, guys, and that is the show for this week. That's my predictions. If you want to reference it, go back to the show. You can let me know how bad I am at predicting these scores, or you can tell me how much of a genius I am for predicting the right scores. Well, thank you for listening to the UMFL live podcast here with Maniac, and we thank you guys. Hope you enjoy your time here in the UMFL, and we're looking forward to having many more seasons with you guys. Thanks, and have a great one.